Welcome to Fast Effect. Here we have Burn versus Death Shadow, and this is one of my favorite matchups in Magic, or in Legacy, let's say. A matchup that I'm very familiar with, and there's some theory here that I've worked out that I think may not be totally obvious. You know, for the most part, Death Shadow does not actually want to be shocking itself versus Burn in the early stages. So cards like Watery Grave, generally, you're going to avoid those. You're going to be finding your Underground Seas. Rob, however, actually grabbing that Watery Grave early, not knowing what he's up against. Not going to give your opponent the free burn. On the other side of the table, Burn actually does not want to be using any direct damage to the face until you get them down to like 12 or 13. And you kind of force the issue there, making sure that the Death Shadows can't come out and actually win the game before you have enough cards to potentially finish off your opponent. Ponder sets up a Delver of Secrets. Bomat Courier, the creature for burn here, which is not really ideal. That does not bring very much violence. This is just a 1/1. You'd be much happier getting a Monastery Swiftspear or a Goblin Guide, but we'll see. I mean, this is ticking up a whole bunch of cards. That Delver of Secrets was handled by a Lightning Bolt. And it looks like a little foreshadowing here. We're going to see a Hymn to Torok from Rob. Fetches. Powerful effect versus Burn. Not going to lie. Gerard's Verdict is a sideboard card that I've played against Burn in the past. Getting 2 cards out of their hand is very strong. Either going to be burn spells, or if it's lands with Gerard's Verdict, you're just gaining the life. Torok, though, is going to be getting rid of a Price of Progress and some other red card, so doing some work. Price of Progress, of course, would be devastating with 6 damage to the face being lethal. Oh, and he's got another price, but that one's actually dazed. Picking up that Underground Sea. So important to have at least 1 Underground. I actually think 2 is where you want to be in this type of deck. You want to be able to play without your Shocklands if necessary. And, you know, Burn potentially makes that necessary. Murktide Regent shows up, and he is absolutely massive. 8 power. We'll see if he can get this game wrapped up before 4 more points of damage can be dealt. I don't know. We got an Eidolon, and that guy gets dazed again. Wow, this is a close one. Oh no, and a main phase second main, we had a Murktide. That's an error. Would have actually grew the original Murktide Regent. Oh, but actually not getting there. So 4 life, not able to close the door. That was that inaccuracy. I think actually, would he still have been dead? Let's see, it would be 5. 5 and 8 is 13. Yeah, I think he was still dead, but not quite as much damage would have been dealt. Very easy to forget. We've seen it happen a couple times on camera, especially toward the beginning of this MH2 life cycle. Well, I shouldn't say life cycle. These cards are here to stay unless they get banned. I mean, that's the beautiful part about Eternal formats is they are constantly evolving and growing. So we've got Murktide Regent's ability to grow when instants or sorceries leave that graveyard. They play really well together. You can have a 8 power Murktide Regent and then jam another one, and you're going to put an additional 5 +1/+1 counters if you have enough instants and sorceries to exile. So Rob winning that game super close. Gotta feel like that Bomat Courier. Not really where you want to be. Those Murktide Regents, though, a major improvement to this archetype. Another card that works with Stubborn Denial. Counterspell that previously I ran a couple copies of. Force of Will, Daze, and Stubborn Denial, along with Discard, makes this a nightmare matchup for a lot of combo decks. I mean, you're able to fight on the stack and fight their hand, and have a very dangerous board presence for minimal investment. I mean, Death Shadow at 1 mana, that card about as big as it gets, and now Dress Down, a new card, making him just a 13/13 while cantripping. I mean, Death Shadow, I feel like, is a deck that has not really been explored nearly as much as I'd like. Roiling Vortex, that Bomat Courier generating some card advantage perhaps down the line. Roiling Vortex, Pizza Days. Card's been like MVP so far this match. Chain Lightning to the face and a Rift Bolt. And yeah, that's what I mean with these burn spells. I think you generally don't want to be using them to target the face. Hopefully you can be committing and getting creatures out. But tough situation. He's only got 1 card left in hand. I feel like Burn has this desire to not waste mana, which I'm not disagreeing that wasting mana is bad. But just bringing your opponent into Death Shadow's range when they'd have to do that to win in the past. Now I think Murktide Regent, may just invalidate a lot of that theory craft. Previously, the matchup came down to Gurmag Angler. Basically, if you were trying to win with Delver, it was not going to happen. Burn has infinite spells that can just kill the bug, no problem. Death Shadow can't come online until you're low enough. So really, the matchup became who could draw Gurmag Angler. Now, I mean, Murktide Regent, a far superior card. Bomat Courier is just generating some serious card advantage. It may be time to cash those out. It's basically a Wheel of Fortune. Brainstorm. And Rob's at 12 life as Riftbolt goes to the face. 1 card or 2 cards now left. Gonna be time to cash in these Bomats. We've got Death Shadow ×2. See what Burn can do. I mean, these guys are going to get very, very big. We have Wasteland taking out a Watery Grave in response to Price of Progress. So Burn only getting 2 out of the Price of Progress. Chain Lightning to the face. And now just 2 more points need to be dealt. And gonna throw a Fire Blast, Force of Will to stop it down to just 1. Tapping out for a Roiling Vortex. Oh, and it's another Daze. Hope I didn't yell that. Another Daze, and that closes it out. Those Death Shadows all the way down to 1 life, cracking back for 24 as Death Shadow holds on just by its fingernails. They are on 1 life to clinch it versus Burn.